Hello, everyone, and welcome. And thank you for gathering today to receive a new message teaching being released to the world for the very first time. My name is Carol Coffey, and I am pleased to host our gathering and to introduce to you a new teaching being released to the world for the very first time, and that is titled Facing a World in Decline. This teaching is part of a book soon to be published titled Preparing for the Great Waves of Change. This new message teaching was received on October 30th, 2008. It's important, I think, to make note of that year, 16 years ago. 16 years ago in Boulder, Colorado, received by Marshall Van Summers from a group of spiritual teachers, an unseen presence with whom he has had a deep and ongoing relationship for over 40 years. It has been through this deep connection and communication that the entire new message has been received by Marshall. And it has been compiled into nearly 1,000 texts and over, well, about 20 books published and more to come. These communications or teachings were audio recorded, so the voice that you will be hearing today is the original voice of these spiritual teachers. For those of you who are new, the new message is an ancient spiritual tradition new to this world. Now, you may ask, why does the world need another spiritual tradition? Well, first of all, the new message, as well as the teaching we'll be hearing today, provides what you could call a tough love warning about the two great converging thresholds facing our human family today. The first being the economic, social, political, economic, our resource decline, water and food production, the conflicts and war that are raging ever more each day. And all of these events are known in the new message as the great waves of change. And the other major challenge and threshold, like never before in human history, is the intervention in our world by intelligent life from beyond our planet. The new message also provides a preparation for these challenges, this threshold, these declines in our world, a preparation, a functional spirituality, it's known as, kind of a boots on the ground spirituality. How to prepare not only on the outside in your lives, but also on the inside for what we are facing for these two great challenges. The new message teaches us how to build a strong foundation in our lives by strengthening what are called the four pillars of life. And those are our relationships, our work and finances, our spiritual development, and our health, both mental and physical and emotional. And that pretty much covers all of our lives. Um, Finally, the new message also reveals the deeper intelligence, the deeper spiritual intelligence within each of us, and the pathway to develop and strengthen this intelligence and our connection to it and our application of it in our lives. And this spiritual intelligence is called knowledge in the new message. And this pathway is contained in the New Message Book of Spiritual Practices titled Steps to Knowledge. And this is free online at newmessage.org. It is this knowledge that is our practical guide for the steps we must take to successfully navigate these great waves of change that are already upon us, and to see clearly what is happening as a result of the extraterrestrial presence in our world today and what it means to our freedom and our sovereignty as a race. It is knowledge that is our guide to finding and fulfilling our purpose for being here at this time and the specific contribution we came into the world to give. Some of you may have asked the question, why am I here anyway? What is it all about? And you may have had kind of an ongoing, persistent feeling or sense that there's something you're supposed to do in this life, and you don't know what it is. The teaching we'll hear today, Facing a World in Decline, speaks to all of what I've just mentioned, and it takes it a little bit further. The warning, the preparation, and the need for knowledge. In one place, it tells us, and here's the tough love part, that we must not think that the collapse of our civilization will not happen. It has happened to other civilizations in our world, and it can happen to ours. I would like to share a passage from this teaching that for me is kind of the bottom line as we witness, in the news, we read about, even experience in our own lives, the greatest challenge to the human family like never before. And these words, this passage, brings it all back to us, to me, to you, to each of us as individual members of the human family. And I'd like to read this passage now. If we could get the slide up, and there it is. Thank you. You must recognize that you have come into the world to live in these times, to face the great waves of change, to adapt to a world in decline, and within the many needs of humanity, to see where your contribution is most essential. This indeed is your time. These are the circumstances that will call out of you your greater gifts. So do not reject them. Do not deny them. Do not run away from them, for they hold the power to call out of you your gifts. I'd like to just share something before we begin to receive this new teaching. When I first sat down to engage with it for the first time and looking at the title, Facing a World in Decline, the title prompted a couple of questions in me. And I thought about those before I began to read the teaching. And you may consider them as well while listening. I asked myself, what does it really mean to face something? What does it take? What is required? And the other question was, what exactly does this teaching say each of us must face? And not just the obvious, not only what's going on the outside and in the world, but also on the inside. Now, let us receive this teaching.
by the human family. Out of greed, corruption, ignorance and presumption. It is a world that has been stressed, a world whose supportive capacity for the human family has been overtaxed and overused. There are growing numbers of people who are aware that there is a serious problem here. But governments are not responding. And the wealthier people of the world do not want to question the source of their wealth. They do not want to pay the expenses that will be required to mitigate the damage that has been placed upon this world. You are facing a world in decline, a world of declining resources, a world whose climate is being affected now and is being changed, leading to violent and unpredictable weather, and the loss of water resources, critical resources that are needed for large populations of people. You are facing a world where a growing humanity will have to drink from a slowly shrinking well. This is the world that you have come to serve. Do not deny it. Do not evade it. Do not be dishonest regarding it. For it is the world you have come to serve. And the circumstances that are arising now, the great waves of change coming to the world, have been foreseen. God knows they are coming. For those who have greater vision, they can see the great waves out on the horizon. Perhaps they cannot interpret them precisely, but they can see them out on the horizon. The human family will have to face now a set of circumstances that as a whole it has never had to face before. And yet so few people can see this. It is one of humanity's weaknesses that it does not look ahead. Believing that the world is an endless cornucopia of resources, humanity is forging ahead with its endless emphasis on growth and expansion. It is like an addict that cannot stop himself from deepening his addiction. As the human family has not gained yet the cohesion and the cooperation necessary to adapt to these changing circumstances and to the great trials that await it. There are several things here you must face. You must face that you are living now in a world in decline. You must go through the shock and the awe of recognizing this and attain a more powerful state of clarity, courage, and determination. You must face this now and look at the evidence that is mounting. This is necessary to give you encouragement and the sense of a responsibility to prepare for a world in decline, to reassess your position and your circumstances, to see where you are strong and where you are vulnerable. This deep evaluation is necessary now, because the world is changing. Your environment is changing. Your physical environment, the social environment, your economic environment. It is all changing now. And those who will be able to navigate the difficult times ahead will be those who have looked and seen and have prepared themselves. Do not wait for a consensus with others here, or it will be too late. Then you will have very few options, and the choices will be immensely difficult. Next, you must recognize that you have come into the world to live in these times, to face the great waves of change, to adapt to a world in decline, and within the many needs of humanity, to see where your contribution is most essential. This indeed is your time. These are the circumstances that will call out of you your greater gifts. So do not reject them. Do not deny them. Do not run away from them. For they hold the power to call out of you your gifts and to initiate your redemption here. A third thing is you must reconsider your demands and expectations upon the world. Beyond meeting fundamental needs here, what do you expect or desire from the world? What do you want the world to provide for you beyond your basic needs? Endless possessions, endless opportunities, the ability to support you in whatever you want to do, and having whatever you want to have. What are your expectations here? And can these expectations be met? And are they ethical? How you behave, what you consume. Your standards here are very important, because what will tip the scale in humanity's favor is clarity, courage, and determination. You must have clarity about what is coming and the great challenges now facing humanity. You must have courage to face this great threshold and to face and to accept what it will call forth from you as a gift and a contribution to humanity. And you must have determination, because part of you will not want to face this. The weaker part of you will not want to face this or accept it. It will want to go into denial so that you can preserve your personal goals and fantasies. You will not want to face its challenge, its requirements, and its opportunities. And people around you will remain blind and ignorant. Their backs to reality. And when the great waves come, they will be caught off guard. They will be enraged. And they will be terrified. You must have determination while others are remaining ignorant. You must have determination while others are in state of denial. You must have determination when others give up, feel hopeless and helpless. You cannot succumb to these. This requires great sobriety and a great love for the world, and a willingness to look and see what is coming over the horizon. If you can see it will be tremendous. And you will feel overwhelmed. And perhaps you may go through a period where you feel hopeless, unable to see a remedy. You will look at the condition of humanity's leaders and the general public, and you will wonder how anything can ever be accomplished, and how any preparation can be undertaken on a large scale. It can appear hopeless indeed, and the chances can seem to be very slim. But what is important here is that you follow knowledge within yourself. It's the deeper intelligence that the Creator of our life has given you. It is not afraid. It is not corrupted. It is not compromised. And as a result, it remains as a source of your strength, your integrity, and your contribution to a world in need. Knowledge functions beyond the realm of the intellect. You cannot figure it out, but you can experience it, and you can receive its guidance, its restraint, and its motivation. With knowledge you can navigate what seems to be unpredictable and hopeless to achieve a greater result. Here you must participate even if you have no idea how it is going to work. And you must function against the odds, even against all hope. Knowledge is not guided by fear and hope, ambition, or desperation. This power is so formidable in the face of changing circumstances that you really cannot find anything else in life that will give you this strength, this certainty, and this stability. But you cannot be passive and rely upon knowledge, for it will require that you be observant, powerful, and responsive. You must realize the great danger. But knowledge will give you the power and the encouragement, because it is a gift from God. Must not fall prey to the persuasions of hopelessness and self-doubt. These will be real challenges for you if you are to face the great waves of change. Environmental destruction, changing climate, violent weather, growing political and economic instability, diminishing resources, and the growing risk of competition and conflict between nations and groups over who will have access to the remaining resources. These are the great ways of change. And because they are all converging at the same time, they create a powerful set of forces which influence one another in ways that are almost impossible to predict. Never think that if the world is depleted, you can go into space to find what you have lost here on Earth. For beyond this solar system, the resources are owned by others, by other nations, and they are far more powerful than you are. Never think that the universe is a big empty place, awaiting human exploration and exploitation. For there are societies in your vicinity of space that are far older than any civilization here on Earth. and they will not countenance intervention or invasion from any human group. What this means is that you have to make it work here on earth. If you cannot do this, you will fall under the persuasion of foreign powers in the universe. Some of these powers are even here in the world today, seeking to influence humanity for its own purposes. Your declining prospects here give it a great advantage of persuasion. But these forces are not military in nature. They are here to take advantage of the world's resources, its natural resources, and its strategic position in this part of space. God knows that you cannot see all of this on your own. And that is why a new message has been sent into the world, for the protection and the advancement of humanity. There is a new message from God in the world. It is here to warn, to strengthen, and to prepare humanity for the great ways of change, and for the immense challenges of encountering a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. These two great challenges, more than anything else, will shape the future and the destiny of humanity. Each has the power to undermine and destroy human civilization. And each can be countered by the power and the presence of knowledge within people. It is a great challenge indeed, greater than anything the human family as a whole has ever had to face, greater than any world war, greater than any famine or pestilence, greater than any economic tribulation. The great waves of change in humanity's encounter with competition from beyond the world will, more than anything else, give humanity its greatest opportunity for human unity and cooperation, for the protection of humanity, and for the welfare and sustainability of life here on this world. Do not think that technology alone will solve these great problems. For without human unity, courage, clarity, and determination, technology alone will not be enough. And you will be seduced by races who are more technologically advanced than you. You must look ahead. You must see the signs of the great ways of change. And you must see the immense evidence of foreign presences here in the world. You must do this without assumptions, without preferences, without trying to use all this to fortify your preconceived ideas and your ideology. You must look to see and to learn. It sounds simple, of course, but it is difficult for people to do this. Perhaps in recognizing these two great realities, your ideas will be challenged. Your assumptions will prove to be wrong. Have the courage and the humility to face this. Have the honesty to recognize that your education must begin anew. The new message from God will provide the missing pieces that humanity could not provide for itself regarding what is coming over the horizon and the realities of life in the universe. There are limits to what humanity can see on its own. And that is why this great gift from the Creator of our life is so very important. Here you must not be guided by hope or by fear, but instead by the power and the presence of knowledge. This will enable you to be clear and objective and able to discern the circumstances as they emerge. Complications will arise, difficulties will arise, unexpected and unanticipated events will occur. If your mind is still and you are listening deeply within yourself, you will know what to do. You have a greater set of strengths that are not cultivated and that have not been called upon sufficiently for you to have this clarity of mind. But that is all changing now. Humanity is now facing a more difficult world. A world that will require greater cooperation and greater selflessness and greater contribution from ever-growing numbers of people. A divided, contentious humanity will not succeed in the face of the great waves of change and can be easily manipulated by clever foreign powers who are already in the world seeking to take advantage of a weak and divided humanity. Look into these two great realities and let them inform you what you must do. And learn to take the steps to knowledge to still your mind so that you can listen to the deeper mind within you, the mind of knowledge. Here the inner preparation will be greater than the outer preparation. For if you cannot find this position of clarity, courage and determination, then nothing you do on the outside will be successful. And you can make critical mistakes in judgment. And you can follow people who will lead you into greater danger and vulnerability. Facing a world in decline, your mind will be afraid. It will want to go into denial. It will complain. It will project blame. It will seek for answers and solutions, not wanting to have to face the uncertainty of living with a greater problem. Here, the degree of your education does not really matter. It is the quality of your education that matters. Even your most highly educated scientists and leaders are in complete denial and ignorance of the great ways of change. They blithely think that whatever it is, humanity can deal with it. No problem. We'll create the technology. We'll take care of that problem when it matters, they think. These are the assumptions of weak and foolish minds. They think that humanity cannot fail, and so they think the problem is not that significant. But the problems are that significant, and humanity can fail. Civilizations have failed before, leaving only a few traces. Do not think that human civilization currently cannot fail, cannot be undermined by the very forces. The forces of resource depletion, the forces of the loss of food production, forces of political instability and human conflict, and forces of intervention from races and on. All of these have led to the collapse of previous civilizations. Do not think that because you live in a somewhat modern life, that the rules of nature do not apply to you. Great waves of change have the power to undermine human civilization. And those forces who are intervening in the world today, who are deceptive, will seek to undermine human civilization for their own benefit. They know that humanity is moving into a position of immense difficulty and vulnerability in facing the great waves of change. And they will project themselves as these intervening forces, as the saviors of humanity. It is a perfect environment for intervention. And because there are other races who covet this world, these attempts will be made repeatedly. This is a giant wake-up call for the human family, of course. And it is redemptive in that it brings you back to yourself, to your senses, and it calls upon the deeper knowledge that God has placed within each person to guide them, to protect them, and to lead them to a greater life of contribution, a life grounded in reality, a life that is inspired by the power and the presence of God. Whether you are religious or not, this is your great opportunity. No matter what nation or faith tradition you've come from, this is your great opportunity. It is driven by necessity now. It is not a casual choice. It is not only for the elite, it is for everybody to respond. Receive then the new message from God, which alone has the wisdom and the power to educate humanity about the great ways of change and the reality and the spirituality of a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. Take the steps to knowledge, to learn of the deeper intelligence within you, and to receive its guidance, its restraint, and its inspiration. Look out onto the horizon of the world and see what is coming. And plan your life around what you see, not around what you want or what you prefer. This is calling upon a greater strength within you, a strength that you have rarely known, a strength that exists beyond the realm of your intellect, your beliefs and your ideology. You cannot be fooling around in the face of the great ways of change. You cannot be self-obsessed and blind and unresponsive to the environment and be in a position to deal with the power and the powerful influence of those races who are intervening in the world today. Humanity can largely mitigate and adapt to the great ways of change. And humanity can throw off intervention and establish its own rules of engagement regarding all who might come to the world, both now and in the future. You have this power and this responsibility. Fail to claim it, and nothing will save the human family. The choices are so fundamental and so essential here that they cannot be avoided. An endless debate about the seriousness of the great environmental changes to come is such a massive waste of human energy and opportunity. These debates are carried on without knowledge, for the mind endlessly speculates and tends to perceive reality according to its preferences. and its prejudices. That is why you must follow what you most deeply know, and not simply call upon experts to guide you and to educate you, but they may not know. Humanity can survive in a declining world, but it will be a very great challenge. We have to control both population and consumption. This seems to be unacceptable to freedom-loving peoples. But freedom requires responsibility. Freedom is a privilege and not a right. It must be earned, it must be protected, it must be guarded, and it must have an environment that can sustain it. Humanity must outgrow its adolescent phase of growth and expansion, for you are running out of room. You are running out of resources. You are reaching the limits, and in some cases have surpassed the limits of what this world can sustain. This is why this calls for a deep evaluation, a reconsideration of your life and priorities, and a reassessment of humanity's future and the forces that will impact it. Knowledge will guide you to make the real contribution you are here to make. It will bring into your life the essential people that will make the discovery and the expression of this contribution possible and meaningful. Therefore, your challenge is both on the outside and on the inside. Your first responsibility here is to build a connection to knowledge. And while you are doing this, to undergo the deep evaluation regarding your life and circumstances. Here everything must be put up for reconsideration. Where you live, how you travel, the people you are with, the quality and strength of your relationships, an assessment of your skills and weaknesses. And this must lead to a plan. Perhaps this plan will not be complete at first, but it must be a starting point. For you must move off of the beach when the great waves are coming. It will take time to change your life and circumstances. You need this time. Do not delay. The more you delay, the fewer are your options. You must be prepared to act decisively and courageously while others are seeming to do nothing. You must follow knowledge, not consensus. This will prove to be pivotal in your ability to prepare and to navigate the uncertain times ahead. It is you who must not become a victim of life's changing circumstances, but its beneficiary. It is you who must be in a position to assist others in preparing for the great change that is to come, and for the challenges of emerging into a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. Time is of the essence, and preparation is the key. God is providing now the vision of the future that you must have. And God is providing the preparation in steps to knowledge and in the prophetic teaching about the great ways of change and the challenge of emerging into a greater community of intelligent life in the universe. This new message presents what is essential for you to know and for humanity to know, to understand what is coming, to see it without deception and distortion, and to begin the preparation that must happen on both an individual and collective level. In facing the great waves of change, people will have to leave desert regions. They will have to leave areas that are prone to flooding. A great emphasis will have to be placed upon agriculture and water resources and fuel resources. There will be immense human migration, refugees forced to leave their homeland because the deserts will be drying and the coastlines will be endangered by violent weather and rising waters. You could see this even now. If you become objective, if you study, if you become educated, and if you listen to knowledge within yourself. Entire nations will collapse in the face of the great waves of change, creating immense instability in the region. The human need will be unprecedented and immense. The need for human contribution will be tremendous. And the wealthy must dedicate their resources to meeting these needs. There will have to be a cessation of war and conflict, particularly between large and more developed nations. Energy resources will have to be managed wisely and will have to be conserved, even to extreme extents. Do not wait and think that humanity can deal with these problems in its own time, for time is of the essence. And people tend to greatly underestimate the great changes that are coming to the world. It is this inability to look forward and to prepare and to moderate one's life that represents humanity's vulnerability. And it is the assumption that you are alone in the universe, or that no one can reach your shore, or that whoever would come here to benefit humanity. These represent your weaknesses in considering the reality and the consequences of contact with intelligent life in the universe. Part of your deep evaluation is to determine your strengths and weaknesses with as much objectivity as you can, and to determine humanity's strengths and weaknesses in the same regard. You can do this because the power and presence of knowledge is with you, because God has equipped you to live in a declining world. Knowledge is in you, is not afraid. It has immense confidence. You too must have this confidence if you are to fulfill your destiny in this world, and if you are to build a new foundation for humanity, to build a new future, a future that will be unlike the past, in a world that will be unlike the past. This is your destiny and this is your calling. And it will give you the greatest satisfaction and fulfillment to meet this great challenge and to realize your greater strength and your unique gifts that are meant to be given at this time.
Ah, yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for gathering and for receiving this teaching. And much appreciation to the broadcast team for your efforts behind the scenes and making this possible for us to receive. And of course, gratitude to Marshall Vance Summers for receiving this teaching and the new message as a whole, and releasing this teaching, this very prophetic teaching, to the world. I invite you to experience this teaching again. Like all of the new message teachings, you will read or hear something new each time you re-experience it. And this teaching is now available on newmessage.org website. Before we close the broadcast, I want to share with you the upcoming events in October for you to consider and perhaps mark your calendars. So in October, on October 5, that's a Saturday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, USA, another new message teaching release will occur. And we invite you to join again for that. And then on October 19, also Saturday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time, a teaching from Marshall Vance Summers will be presented. And of course, all of these times are 9 a.m. Mountain Time. So I hope to see you there. And now I invite you to join a discussion of what you have just experienced over on the New Message Live broadcast chat channel on the Discord platform. Now, if you are new to Discord, there are instructions down below the broadcast screen. So thank you so much again, and I hope to see you all on the discussion.